shakes now with the force of the accelerating machine, all sound drained out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arc outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one, the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into gray heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above to the Adra pillar, and a glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating, so bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems to you as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement, and you look back up to see it melt into the pillar like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light bright as the sun itself, then fades into darkness. The machines slow down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cogs has passed, the chamber is still. You are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed in through the memory, and you find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down at Theos' lifeless body. You sense a listlessness to Theos' soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it. You are able to do with it as you please. Ay, ay, ay. What did I set out to do? I said I was gonna save him, I think. Because I remember the idea was number 4, destroy all memories contained within. Your memory makes you a slave to your own past. Perhaps it can't be undone, but it can be forgotten. It shall trouble neither of us any longer. It's still a soul. Lots of other souls have done pretty bad shit as well, but as long as we make him forget, this won't repeat. Number 4.
No! You cannot allow this. He will have no reminders. He will not remember the message we wrote on his fragmented bones and carved into his flesh. The lesson we burned into his soul.
A questionable act. Without his memories, there will be nothing of Theos left to appreciate your mercy.
You return to the landscape of Theos' memory, to the vast terrain of deceptions and crippling despair, and you can feel your agency in this world now, an ability to reshape the whims of your dominant will. You focus on a vision of pure emptiness, and your will becomes a swirling vortex around you, sweeping through the landscape and bearing away moments and lifetimes like some apocalyptic Beowulf that would tear away the essence of the planet itself. The storm builds until the very crust of the world peels from the fabric of the soul that anchored it, and it is borne off into the sky until it is too distant to observe. The last thing you see is a white void, boundless in all directions, unfettered by the shackles of experience and doubt.
And I love you, random citizen.
Whoa. I can never read it. Henrique Werf, thank you for the follow, man. I appreciate that. In the stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind, a word you spoke when you were one with Theos in an ancient memory. You realize it is the word that activates the machine. We have a lot of splaining to do. We have a lot of splaining to do. Oh, God.
Theos, he had hold of your soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what you needed from him?
I got an answer to an old question.
Those can be hard to come by, but maybe that's best. Forces you to find your own footing. You'll be feeling better soon then. Good. That's real good. You got it figured out what you're going to do about all that?
Yep.
Got a lot of people out there thinking they've been abandoned by their gods. There's not much that'll put the fear in you more than that. You can take my word for it. If it was in my power, and I know it's not, but if it was, I'd find a way to give them the courage to face it. Not because they think there's some god looking out for them, but because they've just got it in them. And after what you've been through, though, I'm sure you got your own ideas. Better make it good.
Ah, the end of the road greets us at last. You fared well, Watcher. Better than any Watcher has right to. Seems you were a field in need of a flame's cleansing. Would that my own trial had produced such an outcome. I had figured myself for the field all this time. But you were the field, and I the darkness. A lesson neither of Durance nor of Margaret. But with that trial's end, a new one begins. A god's trial. And I will stand in judgment without mercy.
So much for Theos, then.
The membranes of Palagina's golden eyes sweep out and retract as she gazes into the great machine.
Now you have a chance to set things right. Back to the proper order of things. It will take the Deerwood generations to recover. But at least these souls will find their way back to the wheel, as it should be.
Anna?
We've come to the end of it, my friend. It has been an honor to walk this road with you, and I will regret our parting. Perhaps we'll see each other again someday. I will not stay long in Rautai long. If it means to change, I see there is nothing I can do to stop it. There are many places yet to see, mysteries to unravel.
Kana smiles.
I'll try to keep to your example, shall I? I will tell all those I come across that there is one Watcher at least who defied her fate, and by that, they will know that all things can be accomplished.
Good. Alright, Leroy Jenkins, let's go. As you approach the machine, the path underfoot suddenly changes to a cobbled road. If you hadn't experienced visions like this already in Terra Averon, you'd be tempted to believe that the machine had sucked you into it and deposited you in the middle of nowhere. The sun blazes overhead, and the rolling meadows and the thick forests on either side of the road could be anywhere in the Deerwood. A shrill cackle turns your head. Scan, ooh. Standing next to you is the malnourished man clad in the threadbare loincloth and manacles. His entire body is stripped with lash marks, and there are scarred pits where his nose and ears should be. He stinks of stale sweat and unwashed filth. You notice someone wandering down the road, but the figure's back is to you. The scarred slave has your attention for now.
I have observed you, Watcher. The way you handled that noble girl in Deerford, delivering an idol effigy to her uncle. A most careful scheme.
Oh, yeah.
You have labored at the pleasure of others. That shriveled hag in Hadrat House. Those preening soldiers with more taste for silk than steel. The wretched tribesmen playing out their fantasies of grandeur. And then you cowered and knelt before the gods themselves, begging one paltry favor and receiving riddles and visions in response. And now the gods give you orders and commands, even while you set out to fix what they cannot. Yet what have they offered you?
They offered us a means to stop Woedica and Theos. That's enough for me. Given the breadth of the iron manacle, it's amazing that he can raise his bone-thin arm, but he does, and he points to the person walking the other way along the road.
The exiled queen is not an ungrateful patron.
You get a better look at the lone figure and realize that she's wearing robes, tattered and singed, but fine nonetheless. On her head is the silhouette of a broken crown. She continues walking, her pace slow, but determined.
Finish the work Theos began. Strengthen Woodica with these souls and allow her to become the most powerful of all the gods, with you as her favored.
I've been working against Woodica this whole time. Why would she thank me now after I've defeated her most loyal servant? The ragged hole in Scan's face wrinkles with disgust. Loyal and weak. Theos proved his inadequacy when he failed to anticipate you. A plan exposed is worse than none at all. But you have proven resourceful, equal to the schemes of gods. Woodica has a long memory, Watcher. For friends and foes, and she keeps her oaths. What do you mean by her favored? The receipt of Woodica's blessing. She has always had a place for mortals of particular merit. If you help her now, she will become the most powerful of all the gods, and you will be the one who made her so. Think of the lifetimes of rewards you would reap. Pallegina steps towards Scan. Equal parts madness and idiocy. Why would we form an alliance with one who is opposed us at every turn? Scan turns his flinty eyes on Pallegina. So says your companion who's been abandoned by her own country. Do you really trust her to make alliances for you? Helping Woodica would mean that the secrets of the gods stay hidden. He rubs his hands together, his black eyes gleaming. Safely hidden, yes. From the violent overlords who would cease to fear punishment in the next life. From the heavy-handed masters who would answer to no one. The world needs some schemes. Or are the souls of Kith so pure that you would snap the tenuous threads that bind society?
Have caution, Stephanie. All schemers desire an ignorant multitude.
Kana's shoulders are set in a straight line, his expression grim.
What they fear most is that we should know enough not to be content in our places.
Scan takes a bundle at his feet and hefts the burden onto his back. I've explained the alternative, Watcher. Continue as the pawn of the gods or a partner of one. At the other end of the road, the figure stops. She turns her head just enough to look over her shoulder. Her face is mostly hidden, but one merciless eye peers at you from a cheek of rippled, scorched flesh. I won't help you.
You say that now, but when you're standing in front of the machine, considering the lifetimes and the powers that await you, we'll see what you do.
He continues down the road, and when the sun suddenly drops below the horizon, it plunges you into momentary darkness. You come to your senses in front of the machine. All these evils we've seen, going all the way back to the Saints' War. That was all Woodica. Imagine if she was stronger on top of it all. Yeah, I'm not convinced. With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Theos once stood before his people long ago. The great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. You have seen this machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It is a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it would be a simple matter to influence that direction. Though as big as the machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. Speak the command to activate the machine. There is a shrieking of stone grinding against stone as old cogs loosen and begin to turn. You have only moments before the souls will be sent into the Adra vein. This will be your only chance at redirecting them. We made a promise to Barath. I liked his options the most. And I believe in the cycle. Out of all things considered, the cycle is the